So today I am very excited to welcome Brian Zimmerman. As Chief Executive Officer of the Cleveland Metroparks, Brian is responsible for the management of over 24,000 acres of green space in Northeast Ohio, including 18 park reservations, 8 golf courses, and the nationally acclaimed Cleveland Metroparks Zoo. Brian leads the Parks District's highest rate of land acquisition under any Cleveland Metroparks leader in the park's 103-year history, aside from the founder, William Stigcombe. Since Brian assumed the role of CEO in 2010, the Park District has acquired more than 2,700 acres for preservation and conservation. Over the last decade, he has expanded park access to 49 communities across 6 counties through strategic acquisitions and added more than 40 miles of new paved and natural surface trails, bringing the park's trail network to more than 300 miles of trails. His efforts have been recognized nationally through several agency awards, including the 2016 National Gold Medal Award for Excellence in Park Management by National Recreation and Park Association, the highest national honor in parks and recreation. In addition to his role with the Metroparks, Brian serves on several boards, including Destination Cleveland, Flats Forward, iHeartMedia Local Advisory Board, and Northeast Ohio Sustainability Community Consortium, and has served as past chair of Cleveland Neighborhood Progress. Brian's leadership has been honored with many local and national awards. Most recently in 2020, Brian was elected into the prestigious American Academy for Park and Recreation Administration and recognized as a 2020 Smart Business Smart 50 honoree and received the COVID Impact Relief Award. He is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and prior to serving as Cleveland Metroparks' 6th leader in its 100-year history, Brian was Chief of Operations for the Milwaukee County Parks, Recreation, and Culture Department. With that, I'm going to welcome Brian.
Hello, everyone. Rachel, I think you did an excellent job. That could be the presentation right there, I think, alone. iHeartMedia got mentioned there. Keith's on the call. It's about as good as it gets. So Rachel's going to share a screen here, and she was able to share a number of really kind of fascinating and wonderful stats, and certainly we're very proud of getting through a very challenging year. Obviously, COVID challenged us in many different ways, and if you can head to the next slide. We've got a number of slides to go through fairly fast here. Again, she covered some of the wonderful stats, and we'll cover some of those kind of highlighting along the way. But one of the themes that you're going to hear is more conductivity here in Cleveland. And if you want to head to the next slide, we've this past year, we were able to really, I would say, rebrand and refresh our mobile app. New campaign, Find Your Path, and it has been absolutely fantastic. Our mapping has been really solid for years, and now we have this wonderful opportunity to have it downloaded on this new app. We used a local company called Recess. I highly recommend them. They were very responsive. Talks about our retail operations, talks about golf courses. You can hit and click on a link, Garfield Park, and you want a moderate trail hike, and it will help you find your pathway, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You want to head to the next slide. Connections, one of the things I talked about. This is the now highly used and wonderful Whiskey Island connector. And I paused for a second. This was a work for many, many years, and it connects to our wonderful asset, Lake Erie. It was part of a more than $24 million project, and there's still some components left that include Irishtown Bend, that's been in the newspaper lately, partnerships with West Creek, the Port Authority Sewer District, Ohio City. There's so many folks that are working on that. But this wonderful opportunity to connect to Lake Erie through the Wendy Park Bridge. We've done some nice connections that along the Whiskey Island connector. We can keep moving to the next one. We're working out in the Line Greenway. This is all part of this major project we were able to open this year. 66,000 residents, 6 distinct neighborhoods. Really, this is really transportation corridor. It was really interesting when we applied for the Tiger Grant, Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery. They said we did everything right, but we called it a trail instead of transportation. And so we fixed those words, and we were able to receive an $8 million grant out of the federal agencies. And so this was work with the RTA, and a host of others that will bring continued connections to the neighborhoods. This goes all the way out to the zone recreation facility on West 65th. You can head West 65th straight downtown. We're still advocating for a protected bike lane to get to Edgewater Park, and then this concept to bring it all the way back full circle. Go to the next one. The Noshery, what a unique opportunity. One of our original 9 reservations. This was always known as Honey Hut for years, and the Honey Hut is still there. We are one of the largest procurers of Honey Hut ice cream, but this is really a new take on it, and this facility here is very complimentary. We replaced the bathroom facilities, we've added swings, we had some help from Groundworks and a lot of help from the community. We do have a liquor license there now, so you can actually have a afternoon beverage, adult beverage if you want, but you can still get your wonderful ice cream cones as well. So this is the Noshery. This is over at Huntington Beach, the historic John Huntington Water Tower. We basically retrofitted and basically shored it up for the future. Topaz Stage 4. Wow. One thought that I think when I got here, I don't know if people thought this project would actually get done or not. But this was one of the 4 final phases that were going into Cleveland. The more than 90 miles, close to 100, goes all the way down through Zoar, Ohio, all the way down into Tuscarawas County. This is essentially one of the links that goes by Sokolowski's. It connects to our Lake Link Trail that the Cleveland Foundation, Gun Foundation, and a host of others helped put together. And this was just one of those remarkable projects. The city of Cleveland owns the land. The Cuyahoga County paid for a lot of the processing and delivered the construction model. We'll be maintaining it. And then our friends at Canal Corridor, they will be part of this. And what's amazing is it links our national park. And the Cuyahoga Valley National Park is truly one of the gems to be put in between Cleveland Metroparks, Summit Metroparks, to have a national park that gets the amount of visitation that it does, ultimately ending up at Canal Basin Park. One of the last stages of it is just absolutely fantastic. So more connections to come off of this. We'll be going into the Brighton Park on the next slide. And this is a project with Western Reserve Land Conservancy, Old Brooklyn neighborhood. This is on a formal landfill, and this is really making lemons to lemonade. And this historic project here had often been thought of just kind of abandoned tires. It was garbage being dumped there, and this ultimately connects to our Cleveland Metropark Zoo, which is really nice. And then there's a neighborhood connection, so it's an on-street connection out to the southeast corner of it. It connects to the Treadway connection, which the city of Cleveland built approximately 10 years ago. The Treadway connection goes right to the Ohio and Erie Towpath. So this is a project, again, with with Western Reserve Land Conservancy. It is right next to Big Creek. You can go to the next slide. Going back to, again, the whole trail concept. This whole reconnecting Cleveland really is about bike trails and the opportunity to connect the Edgewater neighborhood all the way through. We've had so many thousands of visitors there. We have had some challenges though, really putting together the opportunity to understand how the Willow Bridge will interact with us over time, how we can continue to make trail connections. Will there be, a change in some of the opportunities down there with potential redevelopment? Again, it's called Tiger Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery. We're seeing buildings being sold and new potential opportunities coming forward. So we can go to the next one. The Lindsay Family Play Space. This was just a tremendous work here. This is almost a $600,000 project. This is on the top portion of what is called Upper Edgewater Park. Surrounded, it's got a paved trail for easily accessible. It's got shade structures. It's got interactivity. It's more about risk reward. There's balance beams. We were just kicking it with Kenny this past week, but the Lindsay family, Brett and Teresa, came forward and raised more than $500,000 for it. And then a whole host of others came forward, big and small gifts to really complement this. What I find interesting about this is that William Stinchcomb, our founder, actually built some of the original playgrounds, which honestly I think are still there. And this is very complimentary almost 100 years later. So this is the Lindsay Family Play Space, and this is in Upper Edgewater. The day that we opened this, their granddaughter was supposed to be the first one. The fence started to come down, and the children were like locusts. They completely enveloped the entire thing, and I was like, wow, I guess there was a high demand there for a new play space. But it's a really nice complementary area, and there was a playground there more than 100 years ago. Eagle Zip Adventure. Wow. This project was really conceived approximately October of last year. We took a plane ride down to Nashville. We looked at the Nashville zip line, and then we came back here and made it better. We have two very distinct car rides down. You can see our Stillwater place there, which is room for almost 400 people for events. This is complimentary to the Wade Hall right next to our ice cream area here. It costs approximately $8 to ride it. It's right outside my office. I hear the kids screaming often, which is absolutely fantastic. 150 feet above the zoo, you can have great views into the new Metro Health reconstruction project, the downtown area. It is absolutely fascinating to see at night. And then we also have Asian Lantern festivals. We have car options and the in-park experiences. And we've got the big live event with the Cleveland Zoo Society at the zoo this next week. So at the Eagle Zip Adventure. Lake Erie Water Trail, kind of one of the unique things we talk about, how important fresh water is and how important our trails connections. And most people think of trails as something that's paved or natural surface. But this was a collaboration, not only between Cleveland Metroparks, the lakefront communities, Cuyahoga County, Director Mertz from ODNR was supposed to have been up. Ironically, we were supposed to dedicate it on a day that it was pouring. It was a water trail, and it was raining so hard that we had to cancel the paddle fest that was supposed to have gone on. But it's really about safe harbor, where to go, what to do, how to find opportunities. In the back is the historic Coast Guard station that we've partnered with many individuals, with the Burning River Festival, Great Lakes Brewing, Sherwin-Williams, and have returned it. We've put all the windows back into it. It's really one of those cool, iconic areas now. But the Lake Erie Water Trail will be hopefully dedicated yet this fall. That's absolutely our goal. Asian Lanterns, as I mentioned, just showing the zip line. These are just a really, really cool now staple in its fourth year. It's sponsored by Myers. We've got Metro Health. We've got Fifth Third Bank, 70 large-scale event or displays. We've got 1,000 individual lanterns. It runs through Thursday through the weekends, and it has been really neat to see the absolute turnout. Live acrobatic performances and the like. Golfing, one of my favorite summertime activities. We're really blessed this past year to have two of our golf properties between Sleepy Hollow and Manakiki, number 13 and number 27. And I said, well, how about 10 and 15? And how do we get there? So that's kind of our next challenge. Donald Ross course at Manakiki, the Stanley Thompson course at Sleepy Hollow, and we'll continue to work on those wonderful, what we call municipal layouts, but they are ranked in the top 32 courses. We're the only system in the country that has that, which is really, really pretty unique. The hole number 2 at Sleepy Hollow is one of the hardest par 3s in all of Ohio, and if not North America. Those are just some nice images, the finishing holes there. One of the things that we're very proud of this year, we were nominated for one of the innovation awards through the National Recreation and Park Association. This is for the innovation in social equity. And when we talk about conductivity and we talk about opportunity, we have acquired a lot of land, and the land is in some areas larger tracts, some of them are smaller tracts. Some of these parcels were less than a half of an acre, but this is connecting again 66,000+ residents. And so this was recognized as the top award winner for innovation and social equity, but it was bringing so many different partners together to actually thread the needle where a rail corridor would have bifurcated the city, roads would have taken through things. So again, more than 4 different unique trail experiences connecting employment, schools, and so much more. So we're very proud of the innovation in social equity. Again, this is through the National Recreation and Park Association. Finalists. So Rachel did mention that we are an award-winning agency. We've won the National Gold Medal 4 times. This is the best in the nation. You can only win it once every 5 years. This is not a popularity contest. This is, they go through every bit of who you are as an agency. You have to be CAPRA certified, which is the Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation. There's 105 standards. In our first year, we hit 104 of the 105 years when we were accredited. The one that we didn't is that we didn't have a depreciation schedule. The reason we don't have a depreciation schedule is because we paid for things in cash and we have no debt. And I said, well, how should we be penalized for that, for being debt-free? They said, you have done very well. We'll see you in 5 years. So we thank them for that. But again, we strive to be the best for our community. This is based on population served. And so we are up, and we will find out in the late part of September. And hopefully we bring back the gold medal again. And there is your very brief and quick update. I think I hit the time frame.
Mm-hmm. Brian, you did. That was wonderful. There's such amazing things happening with the Metroparks. So very proud to have this gem in Cleveland. So we're going to move to Q&A. So for those on the call, any questions you have for Brian, let's put those in the chat. Brian, to kick things off, there are so many projects that require collaboration among many parties to make them come to life. What have you learned to be some best practices for you in building those collaborations for successful outcomes?
You know, it's interesting. I think through the evolution of just even my own journey of leadership, when you're kind of at the individual level, you understand how you are going to do something. When you become at the leadership level, you find out that there's many different ways to do something, as long as you can clearly define the end result. So if you know what the end result is, then you start to layer in folks that can help you get there, and they have different and creative ideas. And to know that the Port Authority, and that's when I got here 11 years ago, I don't know that all these agencies were basically as interconnected, but when you talk about the city of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, the 50-some, 60-some municipalities throughout, Cuyahoga County, we own land in all of the different surrounding counties, but then you throw the Port Authority, the sewer district, almost all of those leadership positions have changed. So Kyle Dreyfus Wells, Will Friedman, myself, now GCP. It's been really fantastic to see for the greater good of Cleveland. And when you see these trails and opportunities coming forward, or parks, whether it's, Rich Cochran, Derek Schaefer with Western Reserve Land Conservancy in West Creek, those are just all real tangible things that have gotten done. And what you're seeing is that given back to the general public. And to me, that's a win. So you can clearly define your objective. You can find partners. A lot can get accomplished. And I think Clevelanders are really seeing that. And I will tell you, we've got folks from Indianapolis. We've got people in from Pittsburgh. We've got people in from the West Coast. And they're in awe of what's getting done in Cleveland. And I say, we're not done yet. We've got East Side Trail connections that would include East 9th Street to East 55th Street. We've got opportunities to come the Slavic Village Trail connector off of I-77, the Booth Avenue connector. So it's not just the West Side Trail. Some of those were just primed and ready because the federal process takes time. And now we're starting to prime the pump for the East Side Trail and trail connections as well. And that's going to take a lot of partnerships as well, that include the FAA, Homeland Security, and a host of others.
As you look at the Coast Guard station, can you share if there are longer-term plans in place for that development?
It's interesting. Right now, there isn't. Other than the fact that it's secure, it's safe. There's programmatic elements out with our partners, our affiliate at the Foundry. We've hosted the national, meaning Cleveland proper, has hosted the National High School Sailing Championship. It's kind of a challenging site. It has no utilities out there. There's no electric. There is no sanitary sewer. There's no water. So it's a challenged site from that. So from the iconic nature, one of the goals is I'd love to open it up on individual, days where people can just take tours of it, have a naturalist out there. COVID has challenged us with that. So we found, different ways in small groups and other things, but ultimately we'd like to see some more programmatic elements there. So the Foundry is on the Cuyahoga River next to Columbus Road. We've got sailing out at there. And then we're working on this concept of a community sailing center building at East 55th. So that's part of the whole CHEERS study, Cleveland Harbor Eastern Embayment Resilience Study, and the opportunity to redo new things on the east side of Cleveland.
What plans do you have in place, and what work are you doing to help reach out to folks in our more underserved communities that may not find the park system as accessible?
I think that's been one of the questions that I think we've been trying to answer for a number of years. And, part of it is going back to the history as to, why is there some of the areas of inaccessibility? And, part of it is the way the city was designed, the way the freeways cut through, the way railroads cut through. And those things are all challenges, but the opportunities that we have now that include trail connections or opportunities that could be considered like Forest Hills Park in East Cleveland. Again, some of the trail connections that would, foster on the opportunity corridor relative to the connectors going into downtown Cleveland. Those are opportunities to connect neighborhoods. Now, the opportunity to buy, 200 plus acres, probably not as real. So trail connections and little park vignettes, small little maybe 1 acre parcels that could be connected along the trail that provide access could be really good. We also have done tremendous amounts of mobile outreach. Again, our last 18 months have been challenging, but we're still finding ways. We've reached a tremendous amount of people via all of our Zoom education conferences, all the things that we've done. We've tried to stay as connected as possible, but there's still more work to do. New city leadership coming on board. I hope they'll make a priority for trails in Cleveland. And like I said, the Line Greenway, 66,000 residents, 6 distinct neighborhoods. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. More to come on that.
Now, you mentioned we've had other communities come to Cleveland to learn from the Metroparks and are in awe. What are some of those lessons that they are taking back to their communities from us?
They all want the Cleveland Metroparks to come to their area as well, because it's humbling and it's neat to hear, but the standard by which we care for things is different than a lot of other areas. The high quality that we put on the maintenance of trails, and I cannot stand to see an unkept park and an unmaintained park, and I don't like to see holes or dirt. So the attention to detail is one of the things that we strive for. And that's when you look at the return of an Edgewater Park, East 55th, East 72nd, Villa Angela, Euclid, Wildwood. The people changed, and the care factor of who was taking care of the park and what it meant to not only them personally, but what it means to the community to have this high quality amenity. And some say we should take on more city parks. We have 60 different municipalities, and that would be very, very challenging for us. We need to stay very focused on the things that we're doing and things that we're doing well, and continue to grow those things. And where opportunities come forward, we certainly will be looking at some of those other opportunities moving forward.
Where do you see opportunity for growth and improvement within the Metroparks?
Well, I think it's the opportunity is always thinking about how do we reach more. And that's one of the things that we are constantly wrestling with in areas where we hadn't necessarily been tied into before. A stronger connection to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, I think, is key. That would be a very big deal for not only us, but some of the Metroparks and the surrounding park districts. It's a very unique opportunity to stay connected. I think the resources where people haven't necessarily felt comfortable before. A big project we're working on in Garfield. We're working on returning the pond. That park is over 120 plus years old. There were 2 historic ponds there that were taken offline in the days of the city of Cleveland. And we've got our permitting almost all in place through the Army Corps of Engineers. And we will be actually digging back in a 2.5 acre pond. We'll be really looking at the environmental design. There are a tremendous amount of people of diversity that use the park, but they don't necessarily feel comfortable using the center parts of the park. And part of it is that when we've asked questions, they can't see out. And so we've been removing a lot of invasives and cleaning things up and really looking at how to re-embrace that particular park in general. We're trying to continue to promote youth fishing. We'll have youth fishing piers. We're partnering with different trout clubs. So we are doing a lot of engagement. We're in the final phases. I shouldn't say quite the final phases, but the 60% part of our strategic plan, where we'll be going out to the communities and asking questions of how can we help, or how can people help us. And I think we'll be looking at the Cuyahoga County Greenways plan as one of the blueprints to help navigate communities, because the trail connections that, for example, in Solon will go into Bentleyville. Bentleyville can go into Geauga County. We've got opportunities to connect through Bracknell and back into the city of Cleveland, then hopefully into Euclid. So I would say there's a lot of bigger picture things that are coming forward here in the future, and really hoping to find more opportunities that people will connect. Bike shops are out of bikes, partly because of COVID, but also because of all the trails that have been built. There's so many great places to go safely now in this town.
In your opinion, what remains the Metroparks' most hidden gem?
Probably Mill Creek Falls. Mill Creek Falls off of Warner. It's the tallest waterfall. Most people think you wouldn't even imagine that there's a waterfall in Cuyahoga County. It's the tallest. It's the best. It's one of the most beautiful. It's on the north side of Garfield Park. It is absolutely breathtaking when you see it. So if you get a chance, my hidden gem treasure is that people talk about Whips Ledges. They talk about Hinckley Reservation. They talk about the gorge at Brecksville. But I will tell you, and in fact, in my office is the picture. It's the Mill Creek Falls. I look at it every single day because I think it is one of the coolest things. Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, it's built out. And here's this amazing waterfall that sits right in the middle of this great community. So go check out Mill Creek Falls.
And as you think back on your time with the Metroparks over these past 10 years, what are you most proud of?
The connections to people, and I see Tom and Joni Adler on the call, and I got a chance to go to Israel and to see with a bunch of NGOs and people from all over. The relationships in Cleveland are really what's making it different right now. I think too often in these big communities, they get siloed or they get moved around, but the connections to people and the efforts that people are taking, one, to get to know each other, two, to actually find common ground, and three, to do projects together is absolutely, it's fascinating. And, don't take for granted the city election. I mean, we're going to be working on electing a new mayor, and how do we stay progressive, and how do we continue to move things forward, finding ways to continue to partner. Those are all going to be very important things. And if a new county executive election, were to come forward, we need to stay the course on a lot of those things. There's so many wonderful things that are going on, but the people in this community have made the difference. I've only been here 11 years, but to see the amount of things that have actually gotten done, it's really pretty remarkable. So I'm humbled to be part of it and really look forward to the next 10.
Let's talk about those next 10. What's the vision? What do you most hope to see over the course of the next 5 to 10 years for the Metroparks?
Well, one of the biggest projects that I can say is that at the zoo, we're working on remaking the entire front entrance of the zoo. Our rainforest is now 30 plus years old. It was iconic when it opened, but we've got a whole new plan to add a new gorilla exhibit, new entrance to that, a new orangutan exhibit. That's probably a $60 million project. That is one of the most lofty things that we'll take on in our future. We did take on the lakefront parks. We've talked about East Cleveland. We've talked about Forest Hills, the opportunity there. We've had very good conversations with some of the folks over there. So there are more things to come, more opportunities to connect trails. I did talk about Garfield. I couldn't be more happy about that. That project there to me is when you can take something and return it back to once what it was. There's a whole plan for a new boathouse type concept there, education facility where we can get people to learn how to be safe around water. We have one drowning is one too many. We have a lot of water around Cleveland, whether it be Lake Erie, whether it be any of the inland lakes, whether it be our rivers, to work on those concepts as well. So I would say stay tuned and look forward to the next parts of our strategic plan going forward. But I will tell you the core values of connections, connecting people to our places, protecting land. Those are our two really things that we're very prideful of. Again, being one of the largest park systems in the country, over 24,000 acres and award-winning, we hope to continue to move all of those things forward.
And as we look ahead to that vision, where are there the additional opportunities for collaboration by other organizations, including nonprofits, and how can we all support the amazing work that you're doing?
Reach out. I mean, it's one of those things where, my cell phone is very public. If you want to reach out and have a conversation, give me a call and I'll always take the time. I think there are, more opportunities as we go through. And I don't know where the COVID is going to end. The Delta variant and some of these other things, it could change again, right? The dynamic. But I can tell you we had record attendance, 19.6 million visitors, one of the largest. It was the largest in our history. It continues to grow. We are the place where people want to be, where they can socially distance, where they can find respite, whether it be on a hike, a bike, whether it be on a golf course. or a zoo trip. So we continue to find ways to do those things in our now 104th year. Our Find Your Path campaign, our marketing team has done fantastic telling people about things. It's still interesting to find that people don't exactly know all of the assets that the park has. So it's our job to keep telling that story. And I would also say challenge yourself to find a new park. We become creatures of habit. How many people go the same way to work every day? They go to the same grocery store. They do the same thing over and over again. Find other ways. Whether you've been to our Washington Park reservation or Ohio and Erie Canal, or coming into our park run there on a weekend, or going down to see the new stairs at the Gorge. We're working over in Bedford on the Henry Church Draught stairs. So I would say challenge yourself to do something outside of your comfort zone that helps the community get richer and better.
Brian, we thank you so much for your time today and for all that you and your team are doing for our community. It really is such a gem to have here in Northeast Ohio. So thank you for all of that.